Welcome to our Mission Team podcast. My name is Patrick Magyar, and I'm very happy to welcome Reto Hug as my special guest today. Reto participated in three Olympic Games as triathlete. He's not only a top former athlete, he's also physiotherapist, he's father of three children, and he's the husband and team manager of Nicola Spirig, the probably most successful Olympic distance triathlete ever. Reto will share today his view on how the success of Team Nicola Spirig came along. And next week, we'll hear Nicola's opinion on that. So stay tuned. Reto, very much welcome to our podcast today. It's going to be a very special podcast because we are having two episodes, one with you and one with Nicola Spirig. And we are going to talk about the same family, the family Hug and Spirig, and we will have two very special views on that. Now, let me start by saying you're a three-time Olympian. You were European champion in the Olympic triathlon distance, so you're an elite athlete per se. How important for you was in your personal career the whole team aspect?
First of all, thanks, Patrick, for having me. And it's going to be an interesting podcast for me as well because I'm used to have an individual sport. I had to perform by myself. But at the end, we had to have a team, or we have to have a team in the background that is helping to perform well. And it's the same with the family now. Having Nicola as a professional athlete on a high level with family, it doesn't work without the team. And I was at the end more the team because I knew everything what's necessary to perform well. And we live and join part of our lives since 20 years, so we know each other quite well, and that helps in many aspects.
There's a lot of people in the world of sports that actually say Switzerland has two of these extraordinary couples, family Federer on one hand, with Mirka managing everything in the background, and family Hug Spirig on the other hand, with you managing everything in the background. Do you see certain parallels between the two families?
Yeah, sure. I can see certain parallels, as you say. I wouldn't put us on the same level than Roger because he's more international, or he's well-known international what he did. But in many ways, we're pretty much in the same boat. We have kids; they have 4, we have 3. It's just a different role. I'm managing the family matters, and Nicola is performing the sports side. So. Yeah, definitely, we're on the same boat.
Nicola was Olympic champion, Olympic silver medalist. She's no doubt the most successful Olympic triathlete ever. And she stepped down a couple of weeks ago. I had the honor and privilege of being at her farewell party. And the first thing she said is, I think there's a lot of people, I think this is a bit understated, but still she said it. So there's a lot of people that have my dedication and my talent. I believe that my team is very unique and that allowed me to be so successful. Is this being her too modest, or how do you see that statement?
I think to perform well on a high level as an athlete, it's a puzzle. You need all different kind of how would you say, it's not just one the sport, it has everything around it. So especially when it's later in your career, when you decide to have a family. Triathlon is known as an individual sport, but even in individual sport, doesn't work without a team. And especially later in your career, when you decide to have a family, the team, it's getting more important. And it's a puzzle. It's really a puzzle, and you need all the stones to put it together to the bigger picture. And that's important. And I think we did it quite well. We had a really well set up, and it was working for us as a team, as a family, and it was the perfect combination of everything.
Reto, that is a very interesting point. Actually, there is one more parallel between Familie Federer and yours, is that the teams have been there forever. I mean, it seems that there's a big loyalty building in teams for people that have very long-lasting careers.
It's always, I think depends on which side you look at. If you're really loyal to someone, then that person has to be loyal to you as well, and it's just not taken; it's also given. And I think that just works that way. If you work with someone that just takes and nothing gives back, you don't have that long partnership, because at one point you decide and you realize it's always me giving and not receiving anything. And I think that's important, that you give out things and then give it back to the people that work with you. And that's probably one of the reasons why Nicola had her team for such a long time, because it was a partnership. It was giving but also receiving, and that's really important, I think. And as long as you work together and grow together, as easy as it gets. That's you don't have to explain the little things that clear for everyone, to make it better and bigger. And that helps. I mean, that's the key point. If you start working with someone, then you start on the basics. If you work a long time with someone, you don't have to think about the basics, because they're clear for everyone. You work on the more important ones.
So would you say that the trust within the team members is what really made the difference over time?
I think so, yes. Because we knew, we could say whatever we actually were thinking. When we had a thought, we just said it out loud, and then we discussed that matter. And we don't have to be afraid of anything. What could happen if I say this or if I do that? So it was clear. We had such a trust to everyone, and we were really a team that it was working that well, that we could say out what we think, and that helps. And then we took a turn. We took a turn to that side or to the other side, because someone didn't feel comfortable with a situation, or we had to change because of whatever reason. But as a team, we decided, and everyone could speak out loud, and no one was left behind. And I think and no one felt left behind. That's really important.
So an error culture, a specific error culture within the team is what builds that trust in that case?
Yeah, I think trust has to be earned. It's nothing that comes from, that's natural. It's when you start working with someone, you work on the basics, and then I can rely on that person, I can trust that person, and then it grows. And as long as you work with someone and you haven't been in a situation that is not comfortable for you, the bigger that trust is, and as easier it gets, and you can focus on the really difficult bits that make a difference to the other top athletes.
Then, Reto, how important is it that criticism, that different opinions stay within the team and don't make it to the outside world?
I think that's important. It's important to discuss it first, and not having that discussion outside the team, and find a solution that everyone is happy within the team, and also give not your rivals the chance to pick on something that could hurt you and not make you perform as well as you should. And so I think it's important as you step, I wouldn't say in a ring, but if you step out and on that day, and as a shield, there's no crack in that shield that is protecting you, and everyone thinks, oh damn, how can we get that person? How can we beat that person? And as strong as you there and shiny your vest is, as better it is as for you as an athlete, because everyone thinks that we can't stop that person, and that's built as a team. When you discuss it and find solution that everyone is happy with, then and everyone is on the same page, that's the best you can have as a team and as an individual sport as well.
What I'd also like to work out a little bit with you. You have been 3-time Olympians. On top of that, you had on the second education level an education as a physiotherapist, so you know your stuff about body and body control as well. And your wife actually trained with Brad Sutton, who is known for his spectacularly special training methods. I think Nicola really greatly appreciates him. But when you look from the outside, some people always thought that Brad and Nicola are totally crazy. How do you deal with that, not only as the general manager of the team, but also as a husband?
It's funny. I know Brett for even longer than Nicola did, because I raised his athletes even before Nicola was on that level. And from the outside, he's just crazy, and what they do is nuts. Just the way it is. You go like, you would not do that. And I was always thinking, I raced them, I beat them in a race, so okay, I'm happy with it, and they can do whatever they want. But it's part of his, even when you train with him, what I did later at the end of my career, I was training with Brett, and I had him as a coach, and I really appreciated him as a coach because he has a different view at things. And it's not that crazy as the outside think it is. He wants that everyone believes he's crazy and does nuts, thinks they're nuts and stuff. He's not. He's really, he overthinks stuff we do. And that makes you even more armed against anything, because they think if they really did what they say they do in training, how can we beat that person? It's not possible. And it's his part of his training. And it's not, if you hear he's swimming 100s as a birthday present. So if someone has a birthday, nobody's mentioning it because they don't want to swim 100 times 100 meter, which is 10K, as we know. So nobody's mentioned his birthday. Otherwise, you will get that present from Brett. But then he breaks it down. It's not you have to swim them every 5. So you break it down, and then you realize you have to take step by step. And that helps you as an athlete to grow as well. It's not, but you don't mention that. You just say, I swam 100 times 100. And then everyone goes, oh, you're nuts. But it's not, because you have to break it down, and that's what he does. He helps you to grow as an athlete. But then you let other ones believe you do crazy stuff, and that helps to grow.
He's certainly one of the persons I admire as a coach because, as you said, he really knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. But what I also appreciate, or what I find very special for him, is he's working a lot on intuition. He's looking at athletes and deciding one more or one less or stop now, etc. I've never seen anybody, maybe with the exception of the great Hank Kreinhoff, to do something like that as extremely as he does.
Mhm.
Um, However, that means, again, complete trust in the ability of the man to judge you from the outside, right?
Yes, that's something. It's really important to have a communication with Brad, and that's sometimes drove me mad when I saw Nicola having this conversation with Brad. And you think from the outside, come on, you're both adults, you're grown ups, just talk with it. But sometimes they had discussions, and he was mad with her, and she was mad with him, and then it ended up. Yeah, he ended up good because it was just a part of their building process, and that's why they worked that well together. And she was allowed to tell him stuff, and it was important for him to have that feedback to make it more better, to perform better. And therefore I think he's really special, and you have to trust him, and you have to be part of his training group to have his full trust, and just being there and seeing him the whole training day, and he can judge you while you run out there, and you feel tired, then he can see you, and you don't have to tell him you're tired. Maybe he sees it, or then you say, I'm tired, but you don't want to because you're mentally not ready for some stuff. And he goes, no, you're physically fine, you just do it. And so that's important to have him one-to-one every day, and that makes you progress quite quick and on a high level.
Last two quick questions. Nicola said she doesn't want to become a coach. That's not her talent. Would you agree or not?
Difficult question, to be honest.
Then don't answer it, because you need to answer the second one. Everybody I know says you are the biggest coaching talent we have. So are you moving into a top coach role now?
Difficult at the moment. It's just no, not right now. I mean,
But soon.
we see. We let that one open too. We let it open. It's just important. If I want to do it, I want to do it right, and therefore it's difficult to have the team that is necessary to have to have such a training environment is not ready yet.
Okay, so we're waiting for the next Hug Spirig youngsters to come up and see where we stand in 2 decades from here. Thank you very much, Reto. That was very enlightening. Thank you for listening to our Mission Team podcast. Do not forget to register for the next episode and visit us on mission-team.com.